So this is the story about the hidden reason trading ruined this Filipino couple's marriage. Okay, so imagine this. You and your spouse finally have savings. Not billionaire money, not generational wealth, just the kind of savings that took years of work, delayed vacations, skipped upgrades, packed lunches, and quiet discipline to build. That one day, you both decide to invest. Stocks, blue chips at first, then growth stocks, then a few speculative names because apparently every Filipino investor eventually has to learn the hard way that hot tip is not a strategy. At the beginning, it feels exciting. You are not just a husband and wife anymore, you are partners. You talk about charts over dinner, you watch market updates before work, you celebrate green days like mini holidays. Then the account starts falling. The conversations change. The jokes disappear. The losses get heavier. And after 3 years, the trading account hits zero. But that was not the only thing that collapsed. The marriage did too. This is not just a story about losing money in the stock market. This is a story about what financial loss does to loved ones when shame replaces honesty. So let's call them Paolo and Denise. They lived in Cavite, both working regular jobs in Metro Manila. Paolo was in sales. Denise worked in admin for a logistic company. They were not rich, but they were careful. By their early 30s, they had built a combined savings fund about around 850,000. That money had a purpose. Emergency fund, future house, maybe a baby someday, maybe a small business if they got brave enough. Then the pandemic years changed everything. Everyone was online. Everyone was looking for new income. Stock market content exploded. People were posting gains, watch lists, dividends, portfolios, and screenshots of trades that made it look like wealthy was just one app downloaded away. Paulo got interested first. Denise was hesitant, but Paulo showed her videos about long-term investing, compounding, and buying strong companies while prices were low. That sounded reasonable, so they agreed. They would invest together. No secrets, no reckless trades, no touching the emergency fund. Very responsible, very adult, very doomed. At first, things went well. They bought familiar companies, banks, property firms, consumer stocks, a few dividend names. When the market moved up, they felt validated. Paulo would say, see, our money is finally working. Denise started checking the portfolio too. A little green number could improve the whole mood of the house. Then came the first argument. Paulo wanted to sell one stock and move into a faster moving name. Denise wanted to hold. Paulo said they were missing opportunity. Denise said they were abandoning the plan. It started at an investment debate, but underneath it, something else was happening. Paulo heard, you don't trust me. Then he said, you're risking our future. That is the thing about couples and money. The argument is almost never only about the number. It is about safety, control, respect, fear, power. Who gets to decide what's happened next? They compromised badly, which is to say neither person felt satisfied. They sold half, bought the new stock, it went up for 2 days, then dropped for 6 weeks. Now both of them were angry, built for different reasons. Paulo was angry because he felt embarrassed. Denise was angry because she felt ignored. And the portfolio became a third person in the marriage. Always present, always demanding attention, always changing the emotional temperature in the room. So let's continue the story. They tried to continue for a while. Paulo promised no more secret trades. Denise promised to stop bringing it up during every argument, but neither of them knew how to return to normal because normal had been built on shared belief. We are safe with each other. The belief was gone. Then came the final mistake. Paulo made one more trade, a desperate one. He entered a high-risk position with most of what remained. He did not tell Denise. He told himself it was the last chance. One good trade and maybe he could undo the damage, but the market does not reward desperation just because it's emotionally understandable. The position collapsed. The account was nearly wiped out. When Denise found out, something inside her went quiet. Not angry, finished. Quiet. A few months later, they separated, and in therapy, the financial counselor said something Paulo never forgot. The marriage did not collapse because the market went down. It collapsed because the losses became secrets. That was the real diagnosis. Not bad stocks, not volatility, not unlucky timing. Secrecy, shame, and the belief that one person had to rescue the situation alone. So here's the turning point. The real damage began when Paulo made his first secret trade. It was not huge, at least that is what he told himself. He sold one position Denise wanted to keep and use the money to enter a speculative stock he had seen in a trading group. He planned to sell quickly, make back the losses, then tell her once the account recovered. That is how financial secrecy usually begins. Not with the villain laugh, with a sentence that sounded almost noble. I'll fix it first. But the stock fell. Instead of admitting it, Paulo added more. Then another position dropped. Then he started trading more often. The account was no longer a portfolio, it was a recovery mission. Denise noticed the tension before she noticed the missing money. Paulo became defensive. He hid his screen. He gave vague updates. He said the market was just down. Technically true, but incomplete truth becomes a lie when used to avoid accountability. Eventually, Denise logged in and there it was. Losses everywhere. Stocks she had never agreed to buy. Positions sold without discussion. Cash gone. 850,000 account was down to less than 200,000 pesos. Denise did not scream at first. That scared Paolo more. She just stared at the screen and asked, "How long have you been doing this without me?" The question was heavier than the loss because the answers were not days. It was months. After that, the marriage changed. Every expense became a fight. Every market update became a wound. Every apology sounded too late. Paolo kept saying he was trying to recover the money. Denise kept saying the money was not the problem, and she was right. The real account that had gone negative was trust. So what's the lesson? What do we learn from Paula and Denise? 1. Money shared by couple is never just money. It is safety, it is trust, it is future plans. When you risk it, you are not only risking capital, you are risking the emotional foundation attached to it. 2. Investment disagreements need rules before losses happen. Who can trade? How much can be risked? What requires joint approval? What is completely off limits? These rules feel unnecessary during good times. They become priceless during bad times. 3. Secret trading is financially infidelity. Even if the intention is recovery, the effect is betrayal. A hidden trade says, "I choose control over honesty." 4. Shame is dangerous because it turns losses into lies. A couple can survive a bad investment. Surviving deception is much harder. 5. The market exposes the relationship that already exists. If communication is strong, losses becomes painful conversation. If communication is weak, losses becomes accusation, silence, and private decisions. Paula and Denise did not lose their marriage in one trade. They lost it slowly. One hidden order, one avoided conversation, one fake reassurance, one desperate recovery attempt at a time. The stock market did what it always does. Prices move. Risks punish emotion. Losses reveal discipline. But the deeper collapse happened at home. Because when couples invest together, the question is not only, can we make money? The bigger question is, can we tell the truth when we lose it? For Paul and Denise, the answer came too late. That the account hit zero, then the marriage followed.
Greed Confessions, where the truth cost extra. Shh.